Hey guys, so it's International Women's Day, and basically I just wanted to do a video talking about my favourite female characters from books, TV and film. Because it's International Women's Day, there are so many amazing female characters out there, and female creators and things like that, and I just want to talk about them and celebrate them because that's really what International Women's Day is all about. So I'm just going to get right into it. I'm going to start with the book characters first, simply because this is a booktube channel, and I should probably start with the books first. The first book I'm going to talk about is Ultraviolet by R.J. Anderson, and this book follows the main character whose name I've actually forgotten. Ironically, I can't be bothered to look it up though, but she thinks she sees her high school enemy disintegrate, and nobody has any idea what's going on, but they think that she murdered her. But because she says that she thinks she saw her disintegrate, she's put into a psychiatric ward, and it's all about that story and what is actually going on. And what I love about this is that the main character has synesthesia, which is such a little known illness. Well, it's not even an illness, it's a mental condition, which means that people can hear, like whenever they hear or see a certain thing, it comes up with like colours or tastes or anything like that. I'm not explaining this right, but it's sort of like wires crossed in the brain, where whenever the main character sees a number, say 7, she associates it with the colour red and things like this. And it's such a fascinating thing, and the whole book is described from first person point of view, so you see everything this main character is seeing and things like this, which I really enjoy, and things like this. And it's such a good fun book in that sense, but it's also really interesting, and there's a lot of sort of sci-fi elements and things like that, and I just generally really loved it. And I just loved that it gave representation, and from my point of view, good representation to a very little known illness and things. And like the main character is so like proactive in trying to figure out what's going on and things like this. It's absolutely brilliant. I would highly recommend it. The next character I'm going to talk about is Cherry from All That She Can See by Carrie Hope Fletcher, because Cherry is such an interesting character. To start off, she is a woman of colour, which is obviously very important, because obviously we need more women of colour as main characters. But what's really interesting about Cherry is that she is such a positive person, and she wants to help everybody, because she can see things called medlums, which are sort of monsters that attach themselves to people and give them all the bad emotions. So Cherry can essentially see all the bad emotions in the world, and what she does is she sets out to help people with this. And how she does it is that she bakes good feelings into like pies and cakes and cookies and biscuits and everything like that, and she gives them to people and helps them solve their problems. And what I really love about this book is the fact that it brings so much like talk to mental health and things like this, and it gives a new sort of spin on mental health issues and things like that, which is obviously so important, especially in this day and age. It gives you so much of that. It gives representation to women of colour, which is amazing. Cherry also has 2 fathers who are in a relationship together, which is also an amazing part of representation as well, which was just so subtly done, but I thought was really interesting as well from that point of view. And also what I really love is that like every single character in this book eats cakes and things without worrying about weight. There's no fat shaming or anything like that, no matter how much cake or anything else that anybody else eats in this book. And I really love that about this book as well, because it just is so rare to see female characters eating, let alone eating things like pie and things like that, which are typically unhealthy and fattening. To see them actually eating without worrying about weight or anything, or like having their food intake commented on or anything like that. I really enjoy that, essentially. And I just love Cherry as a character as well, because she's so unique and she's just so kind and everything, and her mission is something that is absolutely like important and things. And I just generally really love On the Other Side for these reasons, for its representation and how it deals with mental health issues and things like that. I just generally really love it. I think more people should read it. And then who would I be if I did not mention Xandri from Failure to Communicate? I love this book. I know I'm obsessed with this book and I talk about it a lot, but this book is so important to me, and it's such a feminist book as well. It's unbelievable. Like, if you haven't been on my channel at all and you're only just watching this now or anything like that, Failure to Communicate is a sci-fi novel where the main character, Xandri, has autism. And in this world, like, genetic engineering and things have basically meant that things like autism and mental health issues and disability have basically just been eradicated. But Xandri's parents gave birth naturally with no help from anything, and she came out with autism. And while that's definitely not a bad thing, other people can sometimes see it as a bad thing, and she does come up against prejudice and things like that. Not from every single character. 90% of the cast of this book are very, very accepting and things like that, but there are a couple of characters who do not like Xandri and are very prejudiced against her for her autism. But what I really love about Xandri is that even though she is affected by this prejudice and she ends up quite upset by it, she still doesn't stop herself from proving them wrong. She doesn't give in to their prejudice, and she just proves them wrong over and over and over again, and is just a wonderful character. And what I also really love about this book is that it's a sci-fi where most of the characters are female, because they're on a ship called the Carpathia, which is also an AI ship, who is also female. The AI of the ship is female, and then half the cast of this ship are female. So you've got female scientists, you've got the captain of the ship is an Asian woman as well. You've got all levels of science, the communications, the captain, the ship itself, the pilots, the guards, everyone. There's so many women in this, and they are from all walks of life, because you've got you have representation of loads of different races of women and men, but mostly women, because like I said, most of the cast of this book are female. But you've got people from races, genders, religions, because there are descriptions of characters in religious headdress. You see women who are in relationships with other women, and Xandri herself is actually bisexual and is in the process of possibly becoming the third part of a polyamorous relationship with another man and a woman. And what's really wonderful about that relationship by itself is that you can tell that she loves them both equally, and they love her equally as well as they do for the others, and they're not trying to let her into their relationship because they feel sorry for her or anything. They love her as she is and things like this. And you've also got women from different species, because there's a whole load of aliens running around and everything, and all of them, or at least 90% of them, are so supportive of Xandri and everything she wants to do and everything. They totally understand her condition and they help her wherever possible. Anybody who's been discriminatory against Xandri, the captain will speak up for her and defend her and things like this, and says about how brilliant she is, even though this person still thinks that she's just sort of like a token person brought along because the captain feels sorry for her. The captain makes this very, very clear that she does not feel like this. You've got moments where Xandri gets overwhelmed because they're in a really, really busy spaceport, and there's loads of noises and smells and people and everything bumping into her. So you have one of the alien species who is covered in fur, always goes to Xandri and lets Xandri hold her fur because she finds the touch very, very calming and things, and it's sort of like stimming for her, because she does stim, but she also finds holding that fur really, really calming. So this character just does it for her, doesn't complain, doesn't say anything about it. She just does it because she knows that that is what makes Xandri calm again. And it's things like this the whole way through, and it just meant so much to me as an autistic person to read a female character with autism that was really, really accurate and that I felt I could really relate to, but also in terms of all the different bits of representation and how everyone treats Xandri and everything. It's just a wonderful book, and if you have not read it and have not heard of it, I would highly, highly recommend looking it up. It's just generally a brilliant book with so much amazing representation. I cannot tell you how amazing this book is and how mind-blowing it was. I absolutely loved it. I highly recommend you look it up. Now, onto TV specifically, and the first thing I have to mention is Grey's Anatomy, because there's so many female characters and so many important topics brought up in Grey's Anatomy. It really sort of stands out as a TV show. First of all, it's show run by Shonda Rhimes, who is an incredibly talented woman, and I just find her amazing as a writer and a showrunner and everything. I just absolutely love her because I love quite a lot of her shows. But in Grey's Anatomy, there are so many different characters from so many different walks of life. You've got women who are all main characters. You've got women who have gone through absolute hell over the years. You've got ones who have crawled up from absolutely nothing and built up billion-dollar companies, and some who have lived out of their car and suffered from abuse and things like that, but have come out the other side to become a doctor. You've got women who are winning huge awards for their research and things like that. Practically all of the chiefs of the different bits of surgery are women as well. You've got women of colour everywhere. You've got women of different sexualities. A main character who is a woman who is an amputee as well. There's recently, they introduced a transgender character as well to the more side characters of the main cast. And even with all the diversity in this show, it also brings up so many really important topic. In the most recent series alone, I haven't even finished the most recent series, but I'm quite far into it, but they've already talked about the aftermath of abuse and the importance of believing victims and supporting victims of abuse to help them get out of these situations if they can. We've also had police brutality, doctors not listening to women to do with their symptoms, even in really life-threatening situations and things like this. And Grey's Anatomy always talks about such important topics and things that affect everybody and things, and I just really love it because it's so thought-provoking and everything, but in such an entertaining way and things, and I just really love it because of all the different topics it brings up and how diverse the cast is and everything. There is literally something for everyone in this film, and I love that. Essentially, I cannot say enough how much I love that about this show. And obviously, it's International Women's Day, and I'm not actually filming this today because I am currently watching Jessica Jones Series 2, which the entire second series is directed entirely by women, and it's possibly the most feminist show I've ever watched, potentially, or at least one of them, because obviously the main character is female, and it shows the power of female friendships and things like this, and gives you women from all walks of life, but also it has such a powerful message about abuse and standing up to abusers and the aftermath of being abused, as much as Jessica has. And it was so interesting and so powerful to watch. It just left me feeling so empowered and everything. Even though I am lucky enough to have not have been through abuse or anything like that, it just left me feeling so empowered watching Jessica just stand up to everybody who has ever treated her badly and seeing her try and survive and things like this. It's just an absolutely brilliant TV show, and I highly recommend watching Jessica Jones. It's so good, and it gives such a good message about standing up for yourself and the power of female friendship and things like that. I absolutely love it, seriously. Obviously, if I'm talking about TV and film as well, I have to mention Peggy Carter as well from the MCU, because even though she didn't have that big a role in the Captain America films, or at least past the first Captain America film, this woman is still amazing, and her TV show really brought that to the fore in a lot of ways, because Peggy's story has always been about proving herself and fighting against the prejudice of her time and things, and growing up and being a superhero with no powers kind of thing, because she is, as Hayley Atwell herself said, she does everything Captain America does, but backwards and in high heels, and she kicks ass at it, essentially. She is absolutely amazing as a character, and I look up to her so much. One of Peggy's most famous lines is, "I know my value, anybody else's opinion doesn't matter," which really speaks to me. I don't know about anybody else, but that really speaks to me as a person and things. And I absolutely love that about Peggy Carter. It's that she is so confident in herself and she doesn't let anybody get her down, and she doesn't let anybody tell her that she can't do something, because if somebody tells her that she can't do something, she will do it anyway and prove them wrong and probably do it better than they could. And that's something that I absolutely love about Peggy as well. She built up S.H.I.E.L.D. from nothing. She created S.H.I.E.L.D. obviously with the help of Howard Stark, but she became the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. and created this huge organisation and things that is so important to the Marvel Universe and everything. And I just generally love her, and I cannot wait to read more about her in the comics, especially as she's getting her own spin-off comic soon where she is Captain America herself, which I cannot wait for. And I just think that Peggy is such an important feminist character. And while the TV show could have done a hell of a lot more to promote diversity and things like that, it was quite whitewashed in my opinion. It still doesn't take away from the feminist message, in my opinion, that women can do anything if they put their minds to it, which is such an important thing to say to people. But that is actually the end of my list. If you guys have any recommendations for me for feminist TV shows or books or anything like that, please tell me down below your recommendations. If you have watched any of these things or read any of these things, also tell me down below so we can have a chat about them. Or if you disagree with me with any of the things that I've said, please tell me down below, because I'd love to know your opinions on this so we can have a bit of a discussion about it. But if you enjoyed this video, please do give me a thumbs up. Obviously leave a comment down below for anything at all, and I will also leave the links to my social media down below if you want to check any of those out. If you want to see any more of my videos where I talk more about books and films and sort of awesome female characters, please click subscribe here, and over here will be the link to my previous video. But until next time guys, happy International Women's Day. Bye.